Welcome everyone to the webinar tonight. My name is Brian Allen. I've got some great information for you here tonight. We're going to spend about 40 to 45 minutes with you here with Kendall Bond. He is my mentor and investment partner. He's created a cutting-edge software program that I'm excited to share with everyone out there on how you don't have to exchange your time for money anymore, where you can get your time back and still make the investments and the returns that you want. What I'd like you to do, I would really like you to put your phones on silent, vibrate, turn the TV off, get off Twitter, whatever it is you're doing, and really dive into this with us for the next 40 minutes because it's going to be very quick but very valuable information. So we'd like everyone to be very attentive what we're doing for the next 45 minutes. Kendall, why don't you jump on here now that I've kind of introduced everyone to you, and kind of give us an introduction to yourself and what this software is going to do to change people's lives.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Brian. So real quick, I just want to reiterate, take some notes, make sure you're focused in on this. We're going to be going over a lot of information. During this webinar, you're going to see in action our revolutionary new software that finds you investment opportunities that can earn you 18 to 50% return on investment in your on your investments. And best of all, it is very, very secure. So you'll hear all about this investment vehicle and this automated software that does 98% of the work for you. In fact, this information and process has been used and held closely by top investment fund managers. And when we say fund managers, we're talking Lehman Brothers, the big companies that are out there. They utilize this same kind of technology in order to go in and take advantage of what we're going to show you today. So really focus in. This is something that is truly revolutionary for the industry, and we're going to go ahead and get started right now. Again, my name is Kendall Bond. I come from 20 years in the mortgage industry, where I developed several different technologies. Our promise to you today is we are going to show you how to build wealth using our system without working an additional 40 hours a week. And I want to reiterate that, without working 40 hours a week. We're going to get to why that is so important in a few more slides. But then we will also show you two options that allows everyone to begin the process of building wealth. So this is for everybody. This is not for somebody that, only has $1 million sitting in the bank. This is something that everybody can get involved in, and we're very, very excited about showing this to you today. So again, stay focused. Here we go.
Let's jump in.
Yeah, this is my history. Again, back to that is I was in the mortgage industry, and what I did was develop technology processes for the mortgage industry. I developed title products, all kinds of different things, and I actually sold my company to Fidelity National Title and retired, moved to the island of Kauai, and was pretty much done. But then I started getting into some research and development over there, and started experimenting with different products again within the mortgage industry, and I found that there was a huge lack for the mortgage industry and how they were tracking the paid or delinquent process for property taxes. And what I mean by that is they would go in and they would pay me to go out and actually research and then tell the mortgage industry if they had paid or delinquent status on a particular property. They are not tracking this data, and I know this firsthand because I was doing this for them. So I pivoted my entire focus, went into this, and that's pretty much where I've been ever since.
That's great, Kendall. So the one thing I don't want to go backwards on this because we got to move forward quickly, but being in investment for 20 plus years and being in a lot of ballrooms, and I know a lot of people who are watching this have been to these live events where they show this same type of software or tax liens and deeds in real estate. But the one thing I've noticed being in these ballrooms is you're basically paying for another job. So that slide you brought up a couple of slides ago where you are letting people know this is not replacing your job, this is supplementing or augmenting what you're already doing, and we hope that in a few months of using this system, this can be your income instead of trading your time for money. And
yeah, it's truly a stepping stone.
And that's what I really want to hit that point, because I've talked to people all around the world, and they want to invest, but they don't want it to consume their time and their life. So this is very interesting to me, and I know how we can do it. So let's get right into it.
Yeah, so one of the things that people get very afraid of course, is the risk involved with any kind of an investment. Right now, the market, the stock market, and pretty much everything that you can invest in now has so much risk involved. And what's crazy is these returns that we're going to show you today are much, much higher than what you would ever return or earn in the stock market. 10-year bond savings accounts, you know, those are worthless pretty much. But now the stock market has become so much more volatile. So you're looking at an investment where you're thinking that you're going to make decent money, hopefully, by investing in the stock market, but there is a very, very high risk. But the one thing that I want to make sure people understand is that even though there's that high risk, on average, you're only going to earn about 6%. I know this firsthand. The whole time that I was in Hawaii, I was a day trader, so I would trade stocks, and you know, that's how I worked, and you know, was able to still live over there. And what was amazing to me is how much time I had to put into doing that. It almost killed me. I mean, you're day trading, you're working all day, and it's an impossible thing to do. So what we're showing you again today is how not to do that. You don't want to be spending 40, 50 hours a week trying to make your money work for you.
Well, I like this. Let's get into this process.
So real quick, it's focus is real estate. It's not 100% real estate that we're talking about today, but the focus, you know, I guess the overview of it, we would definitely be in the real estate market. And I just want to touch on this slide real quick. There's not a lot of industries that create billionaires out there where you do not have to have a college degree. Real estate is probably the only one. How? Easier than you think with the right knowledge and tools. It's a very simple practice: buy low and sell high. I have helped hundreds of investors do this by using my system, and actually the system that we're showing you today is now the system on steroids. It's something where I have developed 3 different systems, this being the latest version, and we are just now going to market with it today, and that's why we're, you know, presenting to you guys.
All right, Kendall, I got a question for you. As a listener, we got a lot of people sitting there, and I'm sure they're asking themselves, how do I buy low and sell high? Because a lot of these events and what they've been taught is the change lately is buy low and sell low. How do I buy low and sell high? Is that a lien, a deed? What type of investment product would that be?
Well, that would be probably focused primarily on the tax deeds. So here, if I show you a couple properties here, here's some of the success stories that we had. These are properties that you could look up. Don't do it now. Stay focused on the presentation, but at another time you could definitely look these up. Email us. We'll give you the address, whatever you want. But here's a property up in Mount Lake Terrace, Washington. This was a buy and hold scenario with my investors, so they were not looking to sell it. The market value is $275,000. They purchased this for $11,443.
That's massive returns right there. You don't
see a return on investment of 2,300%.
Okay, yeah, you don't see that. Being in the real estate world, I know that, and there's a lot more risk. Very good.
Yep, and here's another example. I love this one. This was a buy and sell. So we were looking to exit this property within 90 days. So this is a buy and flip. We'll talk more about this at our 2-day event. But the buy and flip scenario is something where all you're doing is you're going in, making that purchase, hopefully getting it for a great price, and then maybe carpet and paint, and then you're out. You put it on the market and you sell it.
So it's just better. So it's and that's as a viewer and a listener, when you say that, you mean, you know, every product, every home you get through tax deed auction, let's not make these things the cutest house on the block. Let's just get in and out of them quick and get them on the market, correct?
Right, and you actually don't even have to fix them up. There are ways to wholesale properties. Again, we can't get into all of the different scenarios. We got a lot to cover today, so that will be covered in the 2-day event.
Okay, great.
What's amazing is all of the different scenarios that you can do within real estate, where you don't necessarily have to be a carpenter. You know, a lot of people think when they're going to buy and flip, they have to go in and paint the walls and do all this stuff, rip out a bathroom. No, you don't have to do that. You can actually buy a property, not even touch it, and then put it back on the market and sell it and make a huge amount of money doing that.
All right, so all of these different options once you take the property through a deed, that we're going to teach all that stuff at the Las Vegas event, all the different strategies on your exit strategy once you do acquire the deed. So that's fantastic. Right. Okay, great.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now this one was purchased for $38,000. We sold it again in 90 days. So imagine your return on investment is 298%, but that was in 90 days. If you could do this every 90 days, which admittedly would be tough, but if you could do this every 90 days, think of the amount of money that you'd be turning around in 1 year.
And how much time?
It's a fantastic way.
I want to ask an obvious question here as, again, a viewer, Kendall. This seems very time-consuming, like this would be another job. How have you made it so it's not so time-consuming? Because that's a lot of money to make. You'd think that'd come with a lot of time.
It does take a huge amount of time. If you're doing this manually, first of all, we got to teach you how to do this. So that's the two-day event. But once you have that education, going out and actually putting that education to work is where I would say 98% of the people that go through these seminars and go through these boot camps and all of these different things that are out there that teach you about tax liens and tax deeds, that is where they stop.
Yeah, they don't.
Now we've educated you, but now you can't take that education and put it to good work. So we're going to be showing you that later, what that software looks like and how you can actually utilize it. I just want to touch real quick, though, on these. You can see here are the returns on some of the properties. There's nothing below 50%.
Massive returns.
Yep.
And
so real quick, we've been kind of throwing out tax deeds and tax liens. So I wanted to explain what we're talking about for those of you that are on the call that don't understand what a tax deed is and what a tax lien is. The county tax auctions properties. So think of an REO or a foreclosure. I'm sure most of you have heard about the foreclosures going through that horrible crisis we had a few years back. But if property taxes are not paid, the county will auction the property off. There's two auction products out there, mainly. There are some others, but again, we're just touching on the two right now. You got to show up for the two-day camp to figure out all of the other options that are out there. But the two products are the tax lien and the tax deed. Now, a tax lien, when you purchase that, you're put in first lien position on that property. So you move ahead of the mortgage and the deed of trust and everything else that may be recorded on that particular property. When you purchase a tax deed, you're actually buying that property right there. That day that you make that purchase at the county, you own that property. And the reason why this is something that you shouldn't think of this as a bad scenario where you're going in, you're taking advantage of, a property or a property owner. The county has major budget issues. I don't know if you've heard the news, but Sacramento went bankrupt. I mean, all these counties are having horrible, horrible issues. And one of the problems is that people just said, you know what, I'm not going to pay my property taxes or I'm not going to pay my mortgage because of that foreclosure crisis. So they're trying to take advantage of this system and not make their payments, but the counties don't put up with that. And the reason is, if you do not pay your property taxes and these counties sit with these properties on their books, it's going to affect the public services such as fire departments, police departments, roads, everything. So I'm sorry, but if you don't pay your property taxes, I don't feel bad for you myself.
Well, that's what it sounds like you've already kind of given up on that. But on a deed, Kendall, and I know, again, we're going to go into this in detail at the Vegas event, but the difference between a tax lien and deed, that's going to take us just a few minutes to explain, correct? There's really, huge differences between the two.
Yeah, the main difference is a tax lien, that typically will be auctioned off every, if you don't pay your taxes for a year. Okay. And that's scattered throughout the United States. So real quick, though, I wanted to just touch on, I'm going to show you a chart right now that will kind of explain where the tax liens are and where they're found. But one of the big issues is the counties do not supply good data. And what I mean by that is they supply the very minimal amount of information in order to auction these properties off. And that is where the huge headache comes. That's where the break comes and where this software becomes so valuable.
Yeah, I can see that, because if a novice investor, maybe one of our listeners or viewers, is looking at this saying, yeah, well, how much research, and me doing this, of course, you know, Kendall, with you, I mean, it used to just be latitude, longitudes, parcel numbers. It was a major, major, major headache, and that's why most people get into it.
Yeah, it's horrible. Bad data equals unsold properties, but that equals an opportunity for everybody that's on the call today. That bad data, we're going to erase that for you. And then this opportunity, which is why we're on the call today, and showing you the incredible system that has been built. So we're going to get to that. So here's the breakdown. So you have tax deed states. Those would be very light green, and hopefully everybody can see this one okay. But California, Nevada, Oregon, Washington, as an example, those are tax deed states. So the taxes go to auction after 4 years in those states. And if they still haven't paid their taxes, the county is going to sell that property right there on the county steps, and whoever wins that bid now owns that property. For a tax lien, that would be Arizona, for example, Colorado. What you're buying is you're buying whatever the taxes are for that particular year, and then you move into first lien position. So when you move into first lien position, though, you're moving ahead of mortgages and deeds of trust and all of these other instruments that they're supposed to be in first lien position. So it's kind of amazing, because now what you've done is you've knocked a mortgage company out of first lien position. They have to pay you back. And these are very, very, very high returns. I'm shocked. When I first got into this, I was blown away. Texas, for example, they pay 25%. So if you buy a tax lien in Texas for $1,000, and that is redeemed by the mortgage company in 90 days, you get $1,000 plus your 25%. It's an amazing investment tool that, you know, very little people know about. Those that do know about it, I think maybe they tried it and they just couldn't do it because they didn't have the data. So
that's what it comes down to with all of investing. If you have the right information and you buy the right way, you can make money, but that's not always the case. So this is great information, because if you have information and inventory, then it would basically just fall on you not doing your due diligence to not make money.
Yeah, if you think about it, if you want to make money in this industry, it's not about going to just the county in your backyard. You know, that auction may happen once a year, or maybe once every couple of years, or, you know, whatever the scenario is. Every county is different, just so you know. But there's over 3,000 counties that this is happening in, and the numbers are staggering. You're looking at a $15 billion market. So for an investor that is wanting to get into this, there is tons of room to get involved in this. Even if you had millions, you would not make a dent in this market.
Okay, so
the issue is, well, real quick, the issue is you have 3,000 counties, and they're providing the data in different formats. So how in the heck can you possibly go out and research, say, San Diego, and then Miami, and, you know, another county up in Nebraska or Michigan? How in the heck would you ever be able to do that without setting up an office and a team and going to all of this expense? That's why we're here again, to toot our own horn today. That's why we're here today, is to show you that process and show you how you can avoid all of that.
Yeah, and being an investor, I definitely don't want employees in an office. I want to do this on my own, so I don't have to have.
So $15 billion a year are going to tax auctions nationwide. Keep in mind, this is only the taxes due. So if you think about what your tax bill is, it's a very small percentage of what your house value is. Here in California, that equals 1% of the current market value of the property, and it takes 4 years to reach tax deed. So when the property is auctioned off, the bidding starts at about 4% of the actual value of that property.
Did you say
so
4?
That $15 billion that we're looking at, that should be around $375 billion as far as the total market value of tax deeds and tax liens nationwide. So almost $400 billion is out there, ready to be purchased, ready to make money on.
Okay, so this, Kendall, I know this being in real estate, this is a lot more attractive than real estate and a heck of a lot less risky. And as far as inventory goes, which real estate investors out there who are listening to this knows, when it comes to inventory, that's the key to making your money in real estate, is buying low, and instead of selling low, selling high like a tax deed, you got to continue to sell low because there's not enough meat on the bone through a foreclosure. So these margins are what should be very appealing to a lot of people who have money to invest who's just sitting.
Yeah, and I've been involved in the foreclosure market back in the mortgage days. That's one of my products. I was heavily involved in the foreclosure market, and I would see properties sold at auction at 99% of current market value. Wow. How those people were making money, I have no idea. I know that, a good majority of them probably lost a lot of money making those investments, but the foreclosure hype was so huge that people were getting involved in these things, and I think they didn't know what they were doing.
Obviously.
But, my investors, a lot of times they will come to me and they will say, is this going to tap out? Is there going to be a point where, these auctions are no longer available? And a lot of people even come to me and say, well, there's not enough properties being sold at auction. How am I going to make a purchase? Here are two of the largest markets in America. So you're looking at San Diego County, King County, Washington. And this was an actual sale. So these are the after sale numbers. You have 59 parcels that sold out of 147. So there's a huge number of properties that were still available that the bidders just didn't have the money to go and make the purchases. So the counties need more bidders like you and everybody else that's on this call to go in and make these purchases because they're not selling properties. So it's extremely valuable to understand that this is not a tapped out market, that there's still a lot of properties out there that are being sold that are not being picked up.
And Kendall, I don't think people realize who are listening, probably the majority of them, I can't speak for everyone, but I can speak for myself. 10 years ago, I didn't know this even existed, let alone how to do it. And from what I understand, it's been going for, 200 years with banks and hedge funds keeping it quiet because they were making such big returns. And
yeah, that's a horrible thing that they were doing that.
Yes. And a lot of these people who are watching this are putting their money in the bank at 0.6 rate of return.
Yeah.
Why have people not been doing this for years and years? That's what I don't get. Is it just they don't know what you don't know?
Yeah, and I think it's an industry that is a very small niche. I mean, you can even talk to most realtors out there, and they don't understand tax deeds and tax liens. But it's this niche area, and again, they can take the classes, they can learn as much as they can, they can try and get as much info as they can, but then the stop becomes, how do I take it to the next step? So now I have all the information, I'm a mechanic, and I've gone to my 2-year school, but I have no tools. And so that's where, this opportunity that we're presenting today, we're doing the 2-day event to show you everything you should know about tax deeds and tax liens, but we're training you on the software. We're going to teach you how to actually move forward and make those purchases.
Well, that seems
going back to your question, though, where you were saying 1%, this is a stock market investment. So this is averaged out at 8%. And this is over a 10-year period, and this is going back to tax liens because tax liens and tax deeds are very different. And again, I hate to keep saying that we're going to show you more on the 2-day event, but there's just so much information that I got to kind of fly through this. But the tax liens, you're looking at, if you invested $5,000 over a 10-year period, you'd have $9,000. Not bad, not great. If you did the same thing with tax liens, and this is not one of the top counties. This is just same investment, but invested in tax liens earning 18%, you'd end up with $50,000.
No, that's a better ROI.
It's huge. So, I mean, if you were going to invest in something and you're looking to leave your money and get involved in something for 10 years, tax liens are definitely the way to do it.
And I hate to
So
bring this up, but it's obvious that that slide you just showed, let's talk about a word that we haven't really talked about too much in the last 20, 25 minutes is the investment that made you $50,000 was significantly safer than the $9,000 that you earned through stocks. Safety is very important in this as well.
well, tax liens, the amazing thing with tax liens is I would say it's one of the safest investments you could do. I don't know how you could lose. Here's the worst case scenario. You go in, you buy a tax lien, and it's not redeemed. So in other words, the mortgage company or the owner does not come back and pay the taxes off, and you get your interest rate like we're showing here today. If they do not pay you off, that property goes to foreclosure, and this is handled by the county, by the way. So then it goes into foreclosure, and then that foreclosure process ends, and now you sell that property. So let's say you bought it for 1%, and then it goes into foreclosure. What is your return on your investment then?
Yeah, I can't see that as a bad scenario because they're not.
Yeah,
They're not making
up with the property.
Yeah, they're not making more dirt, Kendall. They're not making more land, so that can't be a bad thing. I don't care where that property is, how low you bought it. It would be almost impossible not to still profit from the property.
Right. Exactly. There's really no way to lose out on this. So there's a lot of people that are involved in tax deeds and tax liens, top professionals, and we've shown them our system. You know, a lot of the guys were advisors. We didn't just build this software system and launch it. This is something that what we did is we brought in, you know, the top investors that I've worked with and investors that other groups have worked with, and these are some of the comments that they made. Some of them are actually, they were tax lien and tax deed investors, and now they're not. They just got out of it because of the time that it took. So I'm not going to read the quotes to you, but, well, actually, I'll read the last one. The reason I stopped investing was the time it took to gather the information prior to auction. This system will allow me to get back into investing. And that's what they did. I don't want to name his name because he's very big in the industry, but he's actually now buying properties where before he was not. And so he just bought, I want to say 6 properties up in Michigan, just picked up another 2 properties in New York, and just an amazing guy, and now he's back into investing.
Well, the one word on that quote I'd like to talk to about, and I know a lot of the viewers and listeners tonight are saying, if I'm looking at that quote, what's the one word that should be important? And to me, it's system. Because you mentioned earlier, you can be a mechanic, you can be whatever it is, but if you don't have all the tools and the blueprint to do what it is you need to do, you're probably going to fail. So if you have a system, if you have a software, and if you have inventory, it would be very difficult for you, besides doing absolutely nothing with what you have, to not be profitable. So system is very important, and I know you're going to talk about that at the Vegas event in a couple of weekends, but having that system and that backup help and that support system is valuable in case you run into a kink.
Exactly. And this is why I want to touch real quickly on why you know, people stop doing the process. So I just want to show you, we're going to use the last Los Angeles auction as an example. So here's how they supply the data to you. And it comes in the format of a PDF. Every county is different. Again, you're dealing with 3,000 counties. Nobody is set on the same system. And so what they do is they put that data out in any way they can that is the most cost effective, so the cheapest. And in this case, you're looking at a 418-page PDF document. This is a ridiculous thing to try and look through. So what you do is you go down here to your instructions. It's now telling me that, you know, here's where I find the parcel number, here's where I find the minimum bid, etc. And when you get down, you're going to look at the actual properties, and here's where you would find the parcel number. Here's the minimum bid, but you can see there's no address, very little data. They're going to give you a short legal description, which nobody can use a legal description out there. And you're going to go through and you're going to take each one of these properties. This is the old process that I'm talking about now. But you can take each one of these properties, paste that parcel number into an Excel spreadsheet. Then you're going to go back to the assessor's office and type that number in, or copy and paste it, and it's going to pull up what the assessor says about that particular property. Then you're going to copy that back into Excel. I mean, you can see this is just, it's monotonous. If you were going through this one by one by one by one, oh my God, you'd go crazy. So that's really where the system has that major breakdown. And here's where we can do the math.
Okay, so what you're telling me is I like every slide I see. I just got a couple questions. Positioning myself as a viewer here. When it comes down to it, nuts and bolts of this is it was dang hard to do this, and that's why people, only the wealthy people, invest in liens and deeds, because they basically hired people to go out and scrub these and see which ones they wanted to buy, and the Joe Public who works 40 hours a week and has 3 kids, a mortgage, and don't have time to do that. So that's why they can't invest. And
yeah, that Joe Public cannot invest in this system. If you're going to do it the manual way that I was just explaining, here's actually what you would do. So each parcel or property takes 10 minutes. I would say 15. If you're not, really good with a computer, you're not great with Excel spreadsheets, I would say 15. It could be even worse for somebody that's not that computer savvy. But if you took 10 minutes times 400, you're looking at 4,000 minutes just to get that data to where you can start looking at it. Now, if you divided that by 60 minutes, that's 67 hours. Who has 67 hours to put into just getting the data? You haven't started bidding yet. You haven't started, looking at an actual property yet. This is just getting the data into a format that you can review it. It's nuts. It's a completely broken system. If you spend 4 hours a day, so you're the part-time guy, you got a full-time job, you got a family, you want to get in and do this, and you're going to spend 4 hours a day just copying data into an Excel spreadsheet, it would take 17 days.
Yeah, nobody has that.
Nobody has that. And here's where I get very excited about this, because we fixed this problem. But if you spend 67 hours doing this, and then if you imagine 400 properties, some of those will fall off. Some of them are going to be redeemed during the process. So it could be whittled down to 350 properties or 300 properties.
Okay. So
you not only have to do this once, but 72 hours or maybe 3 days prior to the auction, you're going to have to do it again. So it is truly a break in this process where nobody can get involved, and now we fix that for you.
Okay, so again, a viewer, Kendall, you've showed us the hard way and the monotony of doing this process. What's the easy way?
Yep, here we go. So what we've done, and I have to jump out of the presentation real quick because I got to go to my site. So give me 1 second here.
No problem. I'll just ask you some questions kind of while you're doing that. I mean, this has all been great information. I hope everyone who's listening is still really focused on this and not doing something else on their phone, because we don't want to miss anything. You've mentioned, and I've mentioned quite a few times on this call at our 2-day event in Vegas, you obviously are making this software that you've introduced available to the public instead of just your handful of investors, which you've done in the past, correct?
Correct.
Okay, because I know everyone's really excited when this event is and how much this stuff costs, because this is invaluable information.
Yeah, I think that the key to this and the reason we're doing this is there is so much valuable properties out there. This is truly, I showed you, there's so many that are not being sold. So this is not something where, we have to keep it under wraps. This is something that we can share and get people involved with, and a lot of people can start making money. And best of all, it's not a big, huge hedge fund that's taking advantage of this system. I have had hedge funds actually come to me and want to take over this system. And there may have been some good money in there. I really didn't want to talk to them, so I didn't go that far with them. But this is something that I'd much rather have in the hands of Joe Public.
Right.
So here what we're looking at is the auction calendar. So you can see these are auctions that we're tracking through the month of October. Many more will be added. They just continually add and click into the system. And what's amazing to me is how many there can be on a single day. You know, you can see so many auctions that are coming up on a single day. And then when we go to the property map, this is where it gets kind of exciting, because now you're going to be able to view the properties, whatever you want, whatever county. And so let's just say we want to check out Sonoma County, California.
Which is a desirable area to live.
Oh yes, beautiful area.
Yes.
So this is the format. Remember I was showing the PDF earlier from Los Angeles?
Yes.
This is the format that you're now working with.
All right.
So you can go in, you can view individual properties, you can sort by however you want. I'm not going to spend a ton of time in the software right now. I just want you guys to get an idea of, you know, I can sort by houses. I can, you know, pretty much every bell and whistle that you could think of is in here. You can sort by, let's say I have a ton of money and I want to buy the highest estimated value property. Here's $1.5 million. I haven't even looked at these yet, so 68,000 would be the minimum bid on $1.5 million property. That's ridiculous. In Sonoma County, one of the best areas.
Yes, it's a fantastic area. Familiar with it. So this is a complete night and day from that copy and paste stuff you showed us a while back. So this is what we're going to get for attending.
This is what you're going to get it for attending the 2-day. This is what you will also have access to. So again, we're going back to education, and here's the tools. This is what you need to be successful in this industry, because you just can't spend the time extracting that data. So here you can see good old Miami. Hopefully they're going to make it through this hurricane this week.
Yeah, we hope so.
You have the dashboard. What you can do is you can save properties to the dashboard. And I'm not going to, again, I don't want to spend too much time in the software today, but you can spend time in the software or in saving properties to your dashboard, and then those properties are now the ones that you're going to be bidding on. And it's really key to not just be providing data, because again, we're providing an education system, but we're also providing a status or a system that you can go in, upload images into the property. So if you drove by the property and you uploaded an image, you can make notes on it. You can say, hey, you know, the garage door was bashed in, but who cares? It's a beautiful home. You know, whatever your system is, this system works with it. Then you can go in right before the auction. You can go ahead and print out every one of them off, and you're good to go. Walk in there. You can have all your paperwork. You can make notes on what your bid, your highest bid is going to be. So it's really, really a valuable or system to start evaluating the properties. You know, if you're going to go into Sonoma County again, let's use that one, and you're going to say, I only want houses, and it's got to be more than 2 bedrooms.
Oh, you can really get that specific about what property you want.
Oh, you can go in here and you can see if there's a pool. You know, this is very similar to Zillow, and what we've done is we've taken all of that horrible data that is put out in that PDF format and then just expanded on this. This is top technology.
All right, and this software, obviously, I'm looking at all the icons on top. This is not something we can really teach all of our viewers in a 45-minute webinar. This has to be done over a period of a couple of days, and I know we've talked about the 2 days, but as a viewer, I know I want to learn more about this, because this is an investment that I would really like to make. You know, I've talked to a lot of people over the last couple of months being overseas that have a lot of money sitting in accounts, self-directed IRAs, 401ks, that really want to start doing this, but they never have the time or the data. So how much is it, Kendall? That's what I want to know. How much is it going to cost? No problem.
Okay, so now we have removed that barrier, which is so key to, you know, getting involved in this. And before I give you the price, I want to give you, I love this quote, and this is something that I kind of used, you know, throughout my life. I wouldn't say it was that big of a life-changing kind of a thing, but it's very, very important to what we're talking about today, because when you start investing and you start getting involved in anything like this, you know, you have to make that first step, and you got to get involved. And so everybody should think about this. A year from now, you will wish you had started today if you did not get involved in this process. So I think it's very, very key, you know, to what we're showing you today. So right now, the way we have this priced out, this is retail. You're looking at $2,500 for the 2-day camp. There's a huge amount of information in there. For 60 days access, including the setup fee for the software, you're looking at close to $2,000 as well.
Okay, so the 2-day camp's a Saturday and Sunday, I see, in Las Vegas. Okay.
Yep. And, you know, you will make this back on your very first investment. And what I mean by that is if you use our system and you go out and you purchase a condo, for example, for 10 grand, and that condo is worth 100,000, you're going to make that money back right away. So this is just a quick investment that you're going to make towards making money forever in the future. This is not something that, you know, you're going to keep putting out and not making money on. This is something that you will make money on immediately. The same happens for the tax lien. You can get involved in tax liens, and now you're making 18, 20, 25% on your money. So this is very, very valuable at this price, but we're not selling it to you at that price. So don't be shocked.
All right. Well, what is the price, Kendall? Don't leave us hanging like this.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw in the entire package today. This is only for 200 people. We don't have a huge amount of room at this conference that we're doing. If we do get a lot more, that would be great. But right now we're cutting it at 200, and we're going to sell all of that for $797.
So you're saying for $797, I not only get access to the software that you're going to go over, but I'm going to get educated on it at 2-day camp?
Yep, you got a 2-day camp coming up. We have setup and access to the software, $797. And if you can't attend this acceleration camp, you know, don't panic. We're going to have other options on there. Definitely get involved in this system. When we send you the link, you're going to want to sign on there. You're going to want to find out how you can get involved. If you do not have the ability to come to this particular camp, we are going to be having other camps out there. This first one in Vegas, you know, if you could fly in, have a nice vacation, it'd be great. I'll buy you a cocktail. It's really fun events. You know, we try and keep it pretty relaxed. There's a lot of information, a lot of very intelligent people there that are going to be helping you through this whole real estate investing process. If you're not into the real estate part of it and you just want to go straight into tax liens, there's going to be people there that will be working with you on that. And it's a massive, massive value if you're thinking about investing and trying to make, like we started with, grow your wealth. If you want to grow some wealth and you don't want to be this guy that's just working 40 hours a week, bringing home a paycheck, this system can let you do that. It can give you that, you know, future where you're going on vacations, you're spending more time with your family, all of the things that we all work for. This allows you to do that. And it may not get you there overnight. This is not a get rich quick scheme. This is something that, you know, you will have to work at, but we just showed you how quickly I could evaluate properties. I just looked at Miami, California, all over the place, and look at how quickly we did that.
Okay, you know what, Kendall, I want to add one more thing. As you know, I travel a lot and I meet a lot of people. And a lot of people ask me, this is not one of these events where, you know, HGTV, we got a guru, you're going to make money in real estate, because real estate's a very competitive game. What we're doing here is we are teaching people. And a lot of people that I talk to are right around the baby boomer generation, and they're really having a hard time figuring out how they can retire and make ends meet. This would be perfect for someone who had money but needed to grow their money, or needs to just start growing their money. I don't really see any type of person who couldn't do this, but specifically speaking to the baby boomers, this is fantastic for them because they can do it from home. They don't have to go out and worry about contractors, any of this. This is just something that they can really do in their free time and grow their money so they can have the retirement and the life that I'm sure they deserve and want, because too long.
Yeah, I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's really, really key because, you know, one of the things that we're going to teach you at the 2-day event, and again, please sign up for this. If you can't get to the 2-day event, we're going to have options for you. So we're going to have events all over the United States going on. This is not something where we want you to say, oh, God, I can't make it to Vegas during those dates, so I'm not going to move forward. Definitely still sign up for this product. We will figure out an option for you, Even if we have to coach you one-on-one in some fashion, we're going to have those options up. But what I wanted to say to what you were just saying is anybody can get involved in this. If you don't want to buy real estate, if you don't want to flip houses, there's still an option. If you do want to get into real estate, there's a million different options. You can buy and hold like we touched on, and you could flip houses just the same. So it's really, you will find out, and we are going to work with you to help you find out exactly what your best case scenario is as far as investments go. And it's so key because there's just so many different ways within this niche that we're talking about, tax deeds and tax liens, that an investor can find wealth. So I hope everybody, jumps on this. Again, we only have 200 seats right now for this Vegas one, and I think it's going to be a great time. So hopefully everybody jumps on right now and signs up for it, and we'll see you in Vegas. If we don't see you in Vegas, please sign up and find out all the information here at ThriveLG.com. Get started, and
Kendall, can I have one moment before you get going? Because I just want to thank you as a viewer and as a listener to this webinar. This has been very informative. This is the type of information that is game-changing. This can change your life. So I want to also congratulate everyone who's been on with us today for taking the time out of your life to do something different, to listen to something that can change your life, and now's the time to act. Now is the time to act. Not next month, not 2 months from now. Act now. And we appreciate everyone being on this. I really appreciate Kendall releasing this software and letting us have the ability to use that to make money. So we want to see you all at the Las Vegas event. So again, Kendall said it, www.thrivelg.com/get started. Get there, get signed up. We're taking around 200 people to this event. We want to see you there. Thank you for being on. Congratulations and good night.